need a clapper. I need a clapper.
Clapped. Right. Yes. So this is the e-cig shop. Welcome. I am Ryan, aka Dreads.
I'm Tom, aka Clockwork Nerd. Oh,
Glamorous assistant.
aka Glamorous Assistant.
Yeah.
Aka probably another nickname.
We'll see how.
T-Dog.
See what happens as time goes. T-Dog, yes. This one isn't really as much for entertainment as it is for education, not to be patronising. You're usually used to seeing us on our live videos, just doing all kinds of fun stuff and games and whatnot. But
Things around.
during the more recent lockdown periods, we have noticed that quite a lot of you guys, our customers, struggle to find what you need on our website. Don't have as much mixing knowledge or general vape knowledge as we thought, and that's probably because we spoiled you. You would come into the shop with your problems or your requests for juice and things like that, and we would just not really explain too much to you other than how to operate the devices, you know, to be safe. We used to just leave you with it, set it to what you need it to, lock it in place and let you run with it. Don't have that luxury now that you can't just come into the shop for our top class service. So we're gonna try and bring it to you via the tubes.
Via the interwebs.
The interwebs. So, best place to start, we decided, was glossary of terms. Things that we find ourselves asking or saying to the customers when asking them questions about what it is they want, and they're not knowing what it means.
We're not calling them triggers.
All right.
Key terms you'll come across.
Key terms. Key terms.
We thought we'd start off with your two base liquids, VG and PG, and then we'll move into milligrams, which is your nicotine strength, and mils, which is your volume of liquid. Later on in the series,
where things get a little bit more interesting,
we'll have one shots and single flavours,
types of concentrates,
enhancers as well, and grouped into that, and then we'll have a short segment on steeping.
But in between, like here and here, you should understand what each of these means and how they relate to each other in terms of what we use them for. One thing I'll probably put on there is probably some things regarding batteries we'll probably cover as well. Forgot about
safety,
that.
A bit of
battery
that.
safety, battery sizes. This one, we're going to start off with the very basics. Here at the e-cig shop, we're all about DIY e-liquid, mostly. So the two key things in making your e-liquid are VG and PG. Other than a bottle to put the e-liquid in, you don't actually need anything other than these two products, or even just VG alone, to have something to vape. Apologies for the phone going off. I'm not going to edit this out. Like, I'm just going to leave it in. That's whose phone is it?
It's yours, bro.
Is it mine? Oh, it's not me. Oh, it is. Oh, it's lovely customers. Believe it or not. Probably asking me what VG and PG is. Well, lucky customer that just messaged me. Let me explain to you. VG stands for vegetable glycerine. It's a solution, it's a type of glycerine, it's a type of liquid. It has many, many uses. You can get it from many, many places. Very good for sore throats.
Yeah,
if you've got a sore throat, neck some of this stuff. It's sweet to the taste, it's thick, it's loopy, and we've got some right here. That's a 1 litre. That's your 500 mils.
1 litre. Square.
That's your 500 ml bottle, and that's a 100 ml bottle. We do larger sizes as well, but I mean, most customers aren't going to be needing much more than these at a time.
This is your standard VG.
Right, so this is an empty flask, as you can see. This is a 500 ml bottle of VG. I'm going to pour it into this, just so you can get a look. It's thick, it's gloopy. If you get it on your hand, unless you thoroughly wash it off, it's gonna get everywhere. Yeah, it's not sticky, it's just hard to...
It peels it though.
It stays on everything you touch.
Really
so you get it in your hand, you touch this, it's on there now, and then somebody else touches it, it just gets everywhere. I don't know if you can see that very well, but that is the consistency of VG by itself. Now, one thing to notice with VG is its properties can change with heat. So here we have some cold VG, which moving a little bit slower than that bit of warm VG I put in there. It might seem like it's moving quicker, but that's just, it's got more weight to it because there's more of it in that bottle, but it doesn't swirl as easily as this one. And here is some VG that's been warmed up. Look at that.
Well, that's liquid.
So this is some VG at room temperature. What I'm gonna do is just 1-2 drops of a bit of colouring 3 drops then of a bit of colouring in there, just so you can see how it's mixing with it. Just notice how long it takes to evenly distribute around. I don't know if you can see how well it's mixing underneath there. It's not swirling very well at all, as you can see. But that is the room temperature VG. Now we're gonna get some VG that has recently been taken out of the fridge. 1, 2, 3 drops of it in there. And I'm gonna do my best to show. It doesn't, like the concentrate doesn't spread around as quickly. I need to be more vigorous with it. Very hard to swirl. You can't really get the swirl. It's not really swirling, it's just shaking around.
Yeah, it's just back and forth.
And then this is the warm VG. Already you can see it's a lot thinner. Look at that.
Look at that swirl.
Look at that swirl action. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that. Splosh, splosh, splosh. 1, 2, 3 drops of that, and then straight away it started. It's already mixing. The concentrate is separating away from itself. Might be a good term to use, but it's hard to see in this light. And I don't think the GoPro was built for this type of video capturing. But now VG 9 times out of 10 is the ingredient used most in your e-liquid. So if there's, you know, if most of your e-liquid is this stuff, when your e-liquid gets cold, it's going to start to move a bit slower. It's going to appear thicker, and it's not going to wick into coils as easier. So if you notice that your coils tend to burn out quicker or burn out almost instantly during winter months, then it might be because the VG in the mix has got that cold, it's slowed down a bit, and it's not wicking into that coil as well, and it's causing the coil to burn. And if you are in hot climate, even in a hot climate or a hot environment, it might thin down, which means it might leak through the coil, or it might just burn through the coil a lot quicker, again causing the coil to burn out completely much quicker as well. So that's one thing to consider. If you know you're going to be vaping outside, have less VG in the mix. But the other thing, if you want a thinner mix and you're not going to be in a hot environment all the time to ensure that your mix with VG is thin, what you could add to your e-liquid is PG. Again, like VG, it's not used as anything other than a base. It doesn't carry any flavor itself, but you could have the flavorings based in PG, your nicotine based in PG, but that's all stuff we'll get into in a bit more detail. So the consistency of PG is like VG, but when it's extremely hot. Like this is very, very near just like water consistency.
So it's like VG if you mixed it with water.
Yeah. Or AG, but we'll get into that later maybe as well.
That's exactly what AG is.
But distilled water, okay? So if you want a thinner mix, because the coils in your device aren't able to wick thick liquid, because a lot of coils out there are made to soak up thinner liquid, then you'll find this is in your e-liquid. Even Subohm juice that you use in devices like this RTA, more times than not have a bit of PG in the mix. I prefer 70 parts VG, 30 parts PG in most devices I use, unless I'm using a pod, in which case it's half and half, 50-50. But they're the ratios which we'll cover a bit later on.